mouse was right there. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, pass on the double yellows. You can't do that.
I'm so sorry.
We covered the release of Britney's new book last week, and you guys kind of went wild on this video, and I love it. There's just so much support for her. And so anyway, we figured we'd just give like a giant Britney update of what's going on with Britney this week, basically. The first thing is that, she fell a little bit from grace, right? So she had, I believe it was the #1 book when it first went out.
She had a big announcement on her Instagram, but which is now deleted, where she was saying it was the highest selling celebrity memoir in history at 1.1 million copies in all formats.
And now Prince Harry's coming on in with that 3.1
million. So she's number 2. She's rocking the number 2 respectfully. It's still, creating waves and all kinds of things are happening. Justin Timberlake has caught a lot of flack since her book has been released, and it's been reported that he's in Cabo San Lucas hanging out with Jessica Biel, his wife, and their kids, and they are just kind of laying low. He had disabled his, comments, and then everybody was coming for Jessica Biel, which I don't really understand that. I'm not really into that. But yeah, no, he's been kind of keeping quiet. We saw, earlier too, and coming to Justin's defense, we saw Lance from NSYNC, and he was caught up with TMZ, and he was just saying, everyone deserves a right to tell their story. She did, I hope fans can again find some forgiveness, right? When asked if he talked to Justin, he said, I'm not going to talk about my conversation, but he said there's no plans for NSYNC, but he would keep his finger crossed that it would happen in the future.
Right.
And then Lance started getting a little kind of backlash and pushback from his, supporting of his friend and bandmate, because it's just like, Justin was out in the public for all those years saying stuff, and then, you weren't coming to Britney's defense, and now you're, so I think it's kind of tough.
That's the tricky part, because, I'm sure TMZ just kind of, tracked him down and started asking. I don't think he's like, hey, I'd love to do an interview to discuss my opinions, and so you get caught off guard, and then you're just going to say something that, you mean, hopefully, and
he was trying to be diplomatic. He just wants to see everybody get along and, whatever.
Yeah,
and obviously,
but in doing that, you take sides.
Well, for sure. And I mean, Lance is, kind of self-serving and all, but, this is going to either hurt or help the NSYNC tour reunion, the NSYNC, where all these other guys are kind of hoping around. There's kind of waiting on Justin. Now that might be a little slow coming. And you remember, Justin is about to do his tour next year. So we'll see what kind of effect the Britney impact has on his, touring for 2024, which is what his excuses were for not wanting to, reunion or do the full on.
I wonder if he's gonna do some NSYNC, pop up or something with his tour. I don't know why he would do that. I don't know how that'd be beneficial to him. But obviously, they're doing all this like something's coming, and they're priming everybody.
I'll tell you what. Right now, I think Justin Timberlake is just kind of in survival mode and laying low, trying to salvage whatever he can. Because when he does make his move, it's the thing. It's the thing when. These celebrities, they take their break from social media when there is, something that's kind of controversial that happens in their life. We see that when they come back, it's like they think some time has passed, but no, but now they're back in somebody's feed, and now people can't wait to pounce again. So I think he's going to kind of have, a little bit of a rough go about it, and he's obviously going to have to come out at some point and make some kind of statement.
Besides what's going on with the book, so we're back on what's happening with Britney Spears this week. So she's facing some legal trouble, right? And
yeah,
not for some of the things that we've heard with her family and all that stuff, but
she has a real hard time on the California highways.
She got pulled over on the California highway, and the patrol officer, what was this, September 10th and October 6th?
Yeah, so she got pulled over twice around her house, and both times were kind of like a similar situation between them. She uses the excuse we all kind of use when we get pulled over, like, I'm sorry, I really have to go to use the restroom.
Can I be honest? Well, you're like, we all use. I've never used that before. Is that something? Have you used that before?
Yeah, I mean, if you're speeding, you gotta say something. I mean, unless you look pregnant or whatever, you got to say something. You got to try to. I'm sorry, officer, there's a problem. Like, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom. I don't know. I still get the ticket, so maybe it doesn't help. Maybe it's not, whatever. As did she, but yeah, this is the second time though. She crossed a double yellow traffic lines, and then she ended up getting a $327 fine for crossing the double lines. But then whatever she got pulled over for in September, she got an $1,100 dollar fine. So she is racking them up. But it was just pretty funny because, just the traffic stop, which you can, you see, she is, just very nice, very apologetic. She doesn't act like a star. And she's just, you get an insight of just how her life kind of is, because she doesn't, and both times she got stopped, she didn't have her license. She didn't have any kind of like
Oh
identification.
boy.
And but she says it's her security guards have it, because what happens is whenever she just got back from vacation, both of the stops, she was coming back from some kind of vacation, and I guess after she goes through customs with her ID and passports, she gives them some security, because what people like to do is they like to try to keep a hold of her driver's license because they see who she is. And so, like, for her own document safety, she doesn't even hold them. She gives them to somebody else, and they're like kind of in charge. And the officer was like, you should just keep a copy of your ID in your car. You know what I mean? For this, because he knew exactly who she was. She's like, I know who you are, Miss Spears. Obviously, I know who you are, but I need to see your ID stuff. And I wonder, and it's good that she was held accountable, and she, had to pay some fees so she was not above. But I kind of think maybe the police officer would have let her go if he didn't have his body cam on filming the whole time. Like, he's got to
Right.
be seen, because he's like, obviously I know who you are. And I'm, when he let her go, I was listening real close to his body cam tape to go, oh my God, that was Britney Spears. But he's got to keep it cool.
In less serious news, we also had Britney's high school boyfriend.
Yeah.
He's talking to. Do
Donald
we care what he has to
Jones.
say?
Yeah, no, it's so funny. Just people coming out of the woodwork, and everybody has their comments and trying to attach themselves to things or whatever. But he was tracked down, and he was asked what he thought of the memoir, and he was just, going off on Justin Timberlake, saying, any man that is going to ask a woman to have an abortion, he's a piece of shit in my book, and my heart goes out to her. That guy's never been so excited to remind people that he once dated Britney Spears in his life.
It's been an eventful week for Britney, but doesn't she have a deal already for next year for her follow-up book?
She says that one's coming, so I guess so. I know there's no way they don't want one, and if
Sure.
she has way more. She's got to have way more stories, especially when, just the success, it'd just be foolish kind of not to do something. It's surprising so quickly. Maybe she should have, she should write it out for a little, promote that, get on a little book tour, get a little
Sure.
action going. But I'm excited. Like I said on the last one, I'm a huge Britney Spears fan. I love seeing her win, and, finding some kind of happiness. Just stay out of trouble with the law and keep your identification.